Hey guys, Rob here from the Invest Health and Wellness, no, the Invest Health and Performance Institute and CrossFit Williamsville. Fit in 28ers, what I wanted to come at you today with, and it's been a while, I've been working on things, been trying to refine things. And I finished up compiling, to say I wrote this ebook is, I wrote the stuff about the ebook, but the questions I just stole some from Tony Robbins. I read some online. I just almost compiled a list of 30 questions that I think, it spawned from Tony Robbins's quote, and I'm going to misquote it, but the gist of it is that your life is you're the quality of the questions that you ask yourself, I think, or something like that. But what it means is, like, if you are in a rough spot or if you're not doing as well, you can ask yourself better questions that get you to better places. And I thought that I would divide this ebook up into kind of, and I'm looking at a hard copy of it. And in a second, I'm gonna pull up and share my screen, and we'll go over the PDF. And I'm basically just gonna roll through it. And I wrote this as kind of a follow-up to the Elevate Your Game book, which was where I introduced a method called the Peak Pro method, which is kind of how to, it's how to achieve, I don't want to say mastery, but excellence in your life. And it involves, the three pillars of health that I talk about all the time: eating, moving, and sleeping, and then also, what your mindset is around those. And so then what I tried to do was come up with, maybe it's kind of nebulous and it gets kind of in the weeds about things. And I think maybe it may turn some people off, or it just might be a lot to take in all at one time. And so what I tried to do in this follow-up, to call it a book is kind of a, this follow-up manual of sorts, I guess, is kind of pick out 30 questions that were uncomfortable for me to answer. And I'm pretty transparent, but even some of them dug into me. And it's going to fit a little bit like the 7-Day Habit Challenge, in that if you go through this book and you read this book and you don't, and you maybe gloss over the idea that, well, the idea that using this should really help you, right? It relies very much on the idea of self-inquiry, and I talk about that in the beginning of the book. That we want to develop this ability to understand why we think certain things, and why we have kind of a set mindset towards certain avenues. And can we, the beautiful part about the human brain is we can learn and change and adapt these lessons that we've had our whole life, or even we can read about a lesson and change what we do in our life instead of actually having to experience it. And that's powerful, and that's how books can help change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this screen here and try to make this, I'm going to flip through the book pretty fast, but I want to just give you an overarching idea of what the book is and what I think you could get out of it. And you can take your time and read it and go through the questions. Each question I provide kind of like the significance of the question, and then maybe historical relevance, as best I could find, thanks to Google. And hopefully it brings some really good revelations to yourself about why you do things, or what you might be fearing, or what you might need to do to overcome and achieve your best self, or your highest level of health and fitness, if you want to go that route. So let me get this share up. I'm just going to share right to the document. So right now you should be able to see this document in full, right? And it's a nice little picture, right? I'm lucky that I have a Canva. Robert E. That's the second, and me unlocking elite performance, 30 questions to prepare a person revolution, right? I'm gonna skip tables of contents. They're kind of hard to write, but so introduction, and I think this is probably, this first statement is super true, right? We do, in our culture, we celebrate high achievement, with oftentimes just loading more things on, right? Your promotions, your to-do list, and it's like the mountain or the ladder just keeps getting rungs added to it, or it keeps getting higher. And I think that there's a struggle behind everyone that's achieving that stuff. It gets a little poetic here, but I think that if I highlight this one section, and maybe my favorite part of this little paragraph is, the fight to truly know oneself beyond the accolades, to dig deep in the face of sometimes inconvenient truth that define our core, right? I want this book to be not just about success, but about meaningful, fulfilled, and authentic success. And we'll talk about that later. I talk a little bit about Elevate Your Game, lead to the power of self-inquiry, which I mentioned in the beginning. I love that quote from Socrates: an unexamined life is not worth living, right? And that's just to say that you should spend I mean, and this is all my opinion, but I spend a lot of time reflecting on why I think about stuff and why I think certain ways about certain things. And it happens, it happens when I have good days. It happens when I have bad days. So the reflections in this in the section are hopefully they're going to ignite that process of introspection and teach you, or if you're someone that's not comfortable with asking these kind of questions about yourself, hopefully it will help that, right? Why high achievers sometimes feel lost. It's an ironic truth that the traits that propel high achievers, this drive, this ambition, this relentless pursuit of excellence can also become, your shackles. It can also be what holds you back, right? I mean, literally, this is a pretty good analogy I come up with. It's like being on a high-speed train with no stops in sight, where you just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. We're not taking a break, right? It's exhilarating, but the scenery becomes a blur. In that section, we're going to talk about the paradox, the idea that I have to work really hard to be really good, right? Always. And then I talk a little bit now about the purpose of the book. So you might wonder why a book with questions. I talked about this in the beginning, but I might as well read it since we're sitting right in front of it. I think really the questions are the beginning of answers, and this is influenced heavily. If you've read Tony Robbins, you probably can feel a little bit in this statement. But when we're trying to achieve things, there really aren't universal answers as to how much work all of us should do, right? But I think that there are questions that you can ask yourself that are going to lead you to unique answers about yourself, even if we ask ourselves the same questions, right? And that's the purpose of the book. It's not to provide you with answers, but to provoke and challenge and guide your thoughts by helping you, carve out kind of a personal roadmap to elevate yourself, right? And with any truth, and this sounds like whoopsie stuff, but hopefully, if you're answering these questions honestly, that they're going to be in sync with your true self, right? It's going to be really things that you're after, not what you think society wants you to be after. So part one. Delving into success and ambition, right? I don't want to read the whole book to you. So I want to skip down and get to how we're going to talk about this personal success manifesto. And I'd love you to go through this exercise if you've never done anything like this before. But I think a key to preventing disconnect is with this book is having this personal quote success manifesto. And you might hear them lifting weights in the back. I'm doing this right there in 9:30 class, so it's convenient. But steps to craft your success manifesto. You're gonna want to come up with a values assessment. You're gonna craft a vision. You're gonna define kind of what legacy would mean to you. You're gonna have an alignment check, and you're gonna commit and review these things consistently, maybe weekly, right? So what's your values assessment? It says it right there. What are non-negotiables in your life? Honesty, integrity, adventure. Come up with a list of things that you just need to have. Like, what do you need to have? And maybe even just day one's trying to set down and craft a success manifesto is going to be enough for you to work on, right? But go through those, read those, arming yourself with a clear, personally defined sense of success ensures a journey filled not just with achievements, but with purpose, right? And this is kind of the peak pros way of ensuring that your ambition is right in line with what you really want, or what your, I use the word soul here, but like what you feel deep inside. I hear I'm touching myself in the camera and you can't see me, but and here I spoke about this in the beginning, the double-edged sword of ambition. I don't want to get into it too much, but you can read this. At what cost do you do all this stuff, right? I'm trying to get to the questions so we can go through them kind of quick. So in this first section, these 10 are kind of meant to decipher your success DNA, right? It says it right there. So what does success genuinely mean to you, right? And I mean, in the purest sense of form, you close your eyes and you think, I'm successful in life. What is that, right? Is it money? Is it power? Is it happy family? Is it all of the above, right? I kind of delineate between them in this sentence, but it can also be the combination of all of it. But it needs to strike a chord within your heart. It needs to really hit you where it counts, right? You need to push, and that's the truth of it all. So I line a historical significance here. Before you can truly be successful, you got to have a clear definition of your destination, right? It's the old plane trip. You can fly really fast, but if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter. For some success, and I talk about that, then actionable steps. And this is the actionable step is really almost, you could read the first part, you could skip all this crap, and you could do the actionable step and knock through it all, right? Dedicate a quiet hour to introspection. You might want to journal. Envision your life 5, 10, or 20 years from now. If you just sat down and wrote for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes about what you want to achieve in the first person, and you can do it and like present-minded focus, like I have XYZ, I do this, I have this instead of what I want to have. It's an incredible exercise, especially if you've never done it before, right? Two, are your ambitions truly your own? This is a big one here, and it's a big one for me. And it's a big one with anyone whose parents may have ever forced them into following the path they wanted them to follow rather than their own path. I'm taking a drink of coffee, I apologize. Hmm. And it says it right there, living someone else's dreams or following a path because of external pressures will eventually lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. I think some people who've done that. I think that I'm going to go back and change this historical relevance because I was hurting for it. I knew Howard Hughes had a successful tool business he was coming from, but he's kind of the craziest example, but he did go out and crush his own passions, right? But again, here's the actual step. Reflect on the origins of your goals. If they're not yours, reconsider and align with ambitions that are true to your authentic self. So a lot of this is going to be requiring you to dig into your own brain, right? Number three, how do you prioritize health and wellness in this pursuit of your goals? I'm going to let you know that if you don't, you're never going to be truly happy. Schedule rather health, the actionable step is schedule rather regular health checkups. Ensure you allocate time daily for activities to rejuvenate your business. I'm going to stop screen sharing and share where you guys can see me. So can I share both? Let's see, because I'd like you. Okay, it might be worth it. No, that seems odd. Oh wait, this is it, right? If I do desktop one, you see it, it's on my desktop. Correct. No, I don't think so. I think all you're seeing is this, but not my happy face. Maybe I see my happy face. All right. So at any rate, what sacrifices are you willing to make? So this is important too, and it's not only what sacrifices are you willing to make, but you can also juxtapose that and think what sacrifices are you not willing to make, right? What are things that are non-negotiable that you have to keep? Right? I'm gonna not work evenings on Wednesday, Thursdays because I have to spend time with my family. I'm 100% going to wake up and exercise, or I'm 100% not going to XYZ, right? Elon Musk, love him or hate him, he worked insane hours during his early days, sleeping in the factory. A dozen people who've made sacrifices like that, but for him, it was what he's willing to do to achieve success. So list down the elements of your life from leisure time to family time to health. And you can do this as a time block, like on a week or something, on a weekly calendar, and decide which ones you could compromise on and which ones are going to have to remain untouched. And that's good to have that clear delineation. Number five, how do you handle failure, setbacks, and rejections? I think most people handle them poorly. And I think that goes back to how we were taught in school that failure is bad. And I can tell you right now, being a mediocre, being a great coach, being an incredible fitness coach and motivator, and a mediocre business owner, that handling failures and setbacks and rejections are a huge part of any level of success, right? And it builds resilience. And the action step is the next time you face a setback, journal the experience, reflect on what you learned, how you felt, and how you can use this as a lesson moving forward. Number six, who is in your corner? Do you have mentors, advisors, or a support system? You need this. You can't, I'm going to tell you right now, to look you dead in the eye, you cannot do this on your own. Not only can you not do it on your own, you don't want to do it on your own, because then you don't get to feel success with people, right? Feeling successful is one of the things that gets me going is when my members win, right? And that's not me. It's not me doing my own. It's when my members win, it's more exciting than when I win. And I mean that wholeheartedly, right? So, do it. If you don't have any, identify people you care about, potential mentors or advisors in your field. Reach out for guidance. Hell, Carl on here created a mentor panel on ChatGPT, and I think that's freaking amazing, right? He's got these historical figures that are helping him answer questions. It's incredible. You should talk to you about it. So, how often do you step out of your comfort zone? So we've got 3 more to go, and then maybe we'll cut this video as the first 10 questions here, and then we can do more later because I'm running long. Go figure, if you know me. How often do you step outside of your comfort zone? Again, most of the things you want to attain that you can't, is on the other side of you feeling comfortable. It's not my quote. I don't even know where I read it first. It's all over the place. But once a month, you should commit to doing something that scares the shit out of you or challenges you. Public speaking, karaoke, open mic night. I'm working for that in 2025. A new project, a new hobby. Do something. Do something. Now, what are your non-negotiable daily rituals or habits? These are also things to know, because and I can even flip this a little bit. It says identify 3 habits that rituals resonate with you and commit to them for the next 30 days. This is, I also, when I did this, I looked at my habits when I wrote them down, and I thought, do all these serve my goals too? Because there could be something that's non-negotiable in your brain. And when you examine it, you might be like, wow, this thing is getting me actually further from what I want to do. So you can use this as kind of a checkbox too. 9, how do you manage and mitigate stress? This is important not only for you to do, because we're all stressed, but it's also important for you to realize it's what you do. For a long time, I used video game playing at night to mitigate my stress. Now, this is kind of it. That was kind of a non-negotiable thing. When I felt stressed out, 2 or 3 nights a week, I would spend a couple hours playing Fortnite or playing a shoot 'em up game. And what I realized is, though that helped me de-stress, the amount of time it took me to go to bed afterwards, right? Because your brain is like all fired up. I wasn't getting to bed before 11 on those nights. And my hot bedtime is like 10 p.m. is perfect for me. So going to bed an hour and a half later was not serving me in the long run. So even though mentally I felt like I was de-stressing, it was making me tired the next day. So I have since, except for the Bills game last week, I've not stayed up past 10:30 in quite a while. And it's a huge difference, right? And so it was nice for me to also, then having said that, I now have switched most of my stress mitigation goes to me drawing or reading. And I make sure that I finish that up by 10:30 at the latest, right? And it's made it has made a demonstrable, I can say this word, demonstratable, which is not really the whole word. I think you could say it demonstrable. I don't even know. But it's made a huge difference in my life. That was much easier to say. Now, how do you ensure you're nourishing your body towards, here we go. You knew that I'm going to have working out. You knew that I'm going to have sleep. You know I have food in here, right? I can't stress this enough. And this isn't meant to pitch me as a coach or pitch you running out and getting a dietitian. But if you are not nourishing your body properly, you are never going to feel good. You cannot feel good and feed yourself back. It doesn't work that way, right? It's just like your car will not perform if you don't put gas in it. Your body will not perform if you don't put the proper nutrition in it. And that's a non-negotiable, right? And that's number 10. So that's the first third of the book. I'll catch up with this. You know what I'll do? I'll film another one of these tomorrow on understanding authenticity. What I hope you can get away from just doing those 10. Now, right now, I've already uploaded the book into your classroom. You can go in there, you can download that book, you can take it to Kinko's and print it up, hard copy like I did. It is, to get a nice copy of it, I think it cost me, I think it might have cost me like $20, maybe $25, which I didn't mind. I mean, it's worth it to me. You don't have to do that. You can be a digital guy if you want to. You can download it on your phone. It looks good mobile. But take those first 10 questions. Let me know what you guys think about it. Dive into some and hit me up. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I'll video another one of these, and we can just run right through the next third. Let's get after it. Talk to you guys soon.